My name is Jillian Young-Barkalow from GYB Strength, and today I want to talk about something I've never openly talked about. I have blogged about it and written about it, but I'm finally at a place where I'm comfortable talking about it, and that is night eating disorder, also known as night eating syndrome. This is super important for me to talk about because not many people do, and I know I'm not alone in this, and I want to share my personal recovery and journey with this. And I'll also say that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a nutritionist, so this is all from personal experience, and if it can help anyone, then it's worth me talking about. What is night eating disorder? Night eating disorder is not what you might think. Some people think it's sleep eating, so when you get up in the middle of the night and you don't even remember eating, that is an actual thing, but that is something different. So night eating disorder, you are awake, you are aware, but you feel totally out of control. So it's a binge in the middle of the night where you get out of bed, you go to the kitchen, and you have a full-on binge and you don't feel like you have any control. So most people, if you tell this to, will say, well, just don't get up and eat. And that would be so nice. But when you're going through this, you literally feel like it's the only thing you can do. Like there is no off switch, there's no control. People, myself included in the past, just dreamed of locking up the cupboards, of being somewhere with no food, so I didn't have that option. But it's like a binge, you have no control. So my personal experience with this, like many people, it was a result of an eating disorder. So I had an eating disorder from, I would say, 16 years old to 17 years old. And after I had recovered and put on a healthy amount of weight and had a decent relationship with food, this was like the leftover. This was the one thing I could not get rid of no matter what I did. So I had reclaimed my life, but I had this sort of dark secret that I would wake up in the middle of the night and binge. And so 2 a.m., 3 a.m., some nights it was several times in the night, sometimes it was one big binge, and this went on and off from, I'd say, like 18 to even like 26, 28. Yeah, and it is a nightmare to live in. It is hell on earth. It is so hard to describe because for one, no one gets it, and there's a lot of shame attached to it because, again, like if you tell somebody I get up in the night I binge, they'll say, just don't, like just stay in bed. But you literally have no control, and it's so abnormal and it's so shameful that it's hard to talk about, it's hard to get help. Doctors don't always understand, nutritionists don't always understand, friends don't always understand, so you feel very alone. And in my experience, I researched a ton online and I found no answers. People were super depressed, some went on Zoloft, an antidepressant, and gained a lot of weight and still felt horrible. Well, it stopped a problem, it created other problems, and I found no answers. So how did I go from all out binge to where I am now? A long process. I wish I could say there was one supplement, one pill, one treatment, and that's what I kept looking for. I tried every supplement. I went and had acupuncture. I saw therapists, nutritionists, the whole gamut. But like all things, we're all different, and it's a whole body, whole mind approach, in my opinion. So in terms of diet and nutrition, it meant learning to eat enough in the day, and that's really hard. If you've binged at night, you wake up the next morning, you feel heavy, you feel gross, you feel nauseous. The last thing you want to do is eat breakfast. But my advice is start with a blank slate, eat a healthy amount of calories during the day, do not worry about gaining weight, and feed yourself properly. Learn what that looks like. You know, maybe see a nutritionist, maybe see some expert help there, because you have to retrain your body to eat properly and give it what it needs to try and stop that process of needing to get up in the night, because sometimes it's a case of you're not eating enough in the day, so your body is starving. And, you know, there's a mental side to that and a physical side to that. And why this happens to people who've had eating disorders, I think a lot is that mental side where something in you is still starving. And mentally you put yourself through such an extreme deprivation that to get over that takes a lot and a lot of healing. Really, really, that fresh start mentality is a life changer. Get rid of all the guilt, get rid of all the shame. If you know, you have a month without a binge and then you have one, it's fine. I told you this up 2 words, it's fine. And you restart. And that's, you know, you're not gonna balloon from one binge, you're not gonna ruin your life, like, it's fine. Start over. For me, learning proper nutrition, and that wasn't just eating super, super healthy, because my big thing for so long, I ate incredibly healthy, but I had no concept of balance. So learning macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat, and what my body actually needed there, rather than just eating, you know, all the healthiest new superfoods at Whole Foods. I used to spend thousands of dollars at Whole Foods buying every supplement, every raw product, everything that would make me healthy, and I was not healthy. So learning what an actual normal day of eating, quote unquote normal, what worked for me day of eating looked like, and having enough protein, carbs, and fat, enough calories to sustain my lifestyle was super, super key. So from a nutritional standpoint, eating enough, eating the right balance, eating it during the day despite what happened the night before was key in my recovery. Also, for me, and again this is super personal, underlying food allergies, I had discovered I had celiac, and as soon as I discovered that and cut out gluten, my sleep was better, my digestion was better, and that helped my overall sleep and everything. That wasn't the one solution. Again, I wish there was one solution just to make it easier for you, but there never is. And I'm kind of grateful there's not, because it forces you to really look at the problem as a whole. It's like there's a lot of self-experimenting that goes on, and finding out what your body needs in that moment based off of where your body's at in that moment. Often we numb, and if you're not numbing with alcohol or drugs or exercise or sex or whatever it is, food is one we all, or most of us, have gone to, and it's a really easy one because it's everywhere and there's nothing, you know, taboo about eating too much. It's actually almost encouraged in our culture, so it's an easy numb. And if you are repressing anything, and we all have dark sides, we all have wounds, we've all made mistakes, we all have parts of our past that really, really hurt, and food is an easy, accessible drug. So figuring out what those are, going to therapy, talking to your friends, learning how to cry and feel those feelings instead of pressing them down is the most liberating thing in the world, and that can help get to the root of the binge from a psychological perspective. I'm so grateful that I don't live in that hell anymore, and my heart goes out to anyone going through this right now. And I know there's so much out there saying that there is no hope, or saying take this drug and that drug, but I would like to say that there is. There are many options. Start working on yourself as a whole, seek professional help, and work through it. You will be okay. My personal history with my body and my eating disorder came from being a very emotional teenager. Like many, your hormones are going crazy, but also just very emotionally in tune and affected by my surroundings, and I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I didn't know how to manage that, and I went to some very dark places, and I just remember not wanting to don't make me cry. Just not wanting to be there. It's like when waking up in the morning is a struggle, and just existing is a struggle, and it's too much. You look for answers, and I didn't know how to express that, and I felt selfish because I didn't think I deserved to feel the way I felt, because I loved my family, I had supportive friends, I had a roof over my head, but
But I felt these things, and that darkness was real, and that those emotions were real, and I turned to deprivation as a way of showing that pain, because it was something I could control, and it was something that it just helps deal with the pain. It helped numb the pain in a different way. And yeah, when I was 16, I moved to Ireland and really struggled. I never liked to fit into one group of friends, and so I had, this group and that group that wanted to be friends, but I liked to be friends with everybody, and that didn't go over well, so I felt very isolated, I felt very misunderstood, and that's sort of when that started to get the worst, because it was a way of control, and it was a call for help, just to say that I am struggling and I am alone, but I don't know how the hell to say it. So that's when I became extremely restrictive as a way of coping, and it was messed up. Like, I remember one day realizing I was down to 100 pounds, that's 30 pounds less than I am now, and realizing I had a problem, and realized that I had reached this weird goal, because I had wanted to be so thin for so long. I'd reached this weird goal, and it was so empty. Like, I had no period, I had no joy, I had no life, I had my eating disorder, and that's all. So yeah, I spent a long time working through that, and I wish I had sought more professional help, and I think the night eating disorder probably stemmed from that too, just trying to deal with it all on my own. And when you're eating in the middle of the night, you're alone, and you're comforting and soothing a part of you that was super deprived and restricted for so long. So, I mean, that I would say is a big part of it. Every person is unique and every story is unique, but I think for me personally, that coping with food was numbing this young girl who just felt really lost and really alone and really confused by her sadness. What do I say? I'm so grateful for all of this, because it taught me so much about what goes on with a lot of women, and in this, not the exact same story. We're all so unique, but I have such a huge amount of compassion for anyone who struggles with their body, whether they're overweight or underweight or struggling just to love themselves. I get it. And that's what brought me to this place of really wanting to be healthy from a whole level, in terms of myself emotionally and my soul, and also physically, and to do it in a really healthy way where there is balance, and there is proper nutrition, and there is, a love of feeling strong in your body. And again, we live in a world that doesn't always encourage that, and it's very confusing, and there's a lot of diets and fitness approaches that really prey on those insecurities, and that's where I come in. Because my brand, GYB Give Your Best, is about finding someone's personal best with their lifestyle, who they are, what they're going through. I want them to feel good, and that takes some rewiring of everything we're told. I think a lot of things sold to women are oppressive, especially in the world of fitness and diet, and often masqueraded under health, because anything that is making you hungry, that is taking away from your social life, that is making you feel deprived or not good enough, or like you're going to fail because it's just genuinely not sustainable, that's not your best self, that's not your best life, that's not okay. So my goal is to really help you find what works best for you in a way that you feel awesome, you can live your best life, you feel empowered by food. Food is your fuel, food is your friend, food is something that, it's not a war against you and food. I mean, it's just your nourishment so that you can feel awesome. And if you want to lift weights, lift weights. If you want to do yoga, whatever makes you feel good and helps you be a better person, friend, mom, daughter, whatever you are, that's your best.
Yes.